Hello my friends, welcome to a new video. Today a review about a shifter from Turtle Beach, the VelocityOne Multishift. The Multishift comes in at €130 on the Turtle Beach website. If you subscribe to their newsletter, you will also get a 10% reduction. You can also get it via Amazon website and other resellers, and there the price varies €110 and €115. If we compare this with other alternatives, we have the Moza shifter AGP, which comes in at €159. There is also the Thrustmaster TH8A, which is a bit north of that, still €190 for that one. So I think for pricing, the Multishift is really nice. When it comes to the compatibility, it is compatible with Xbox if you connect it via a Turtle Beach wheelbase. On PC, well, it doesn't matter, right? You connect it via the wheelbase or directly to the PC. I did test the Multishift in BeamNG, ACC and Taxi Simulator, which gave no issues at all for usage or configuration. For Xbox, of course, you guys know I don't have an Xbox. I cannot test it, but I assume that the usage will be the same on Xbox as it is on PC. So the first game that I'm testing it on is ACC. Normally I use the flappy pedals at the steering wheel, so it's a bit adjusting to a sequential gearbox, but it's nicer. I don't see any delay when I shift. Feels very crisp, very fast. Also the return to center is pretty damn good. The knob itself, it feels very, very nice. It's completely made out of aluminium, this one. So it stays nice and cool, which is always good if you have warm hands. Also a lot of grip on it. The big difference between this shifter and other shifters that I have tested before, Simagic XB1 and the TSS Sparko of Thrustmaster, is that this doesn't make a racket. If you use one of those, it's like clack, clack, clack. Every time you shift up or down, it's like clack, clack. And this is horrible, especially when I drive. It's mostly in the evenings. My daughter is upstairs sleeping. My partner, if I would still have one, would be watching TV. And then you have this clacking noise. It can be really annoying. But this doesn't have it, and that's very good. Now, like I said, I don't drive with sequential shifter that much, so yeah, it's hard for me to really rate this experience. But from what I see, from what I feel, no misshifting, instant shifting, not too much noise, very crisp handling, feels nice to the touch. Yeah, this is a prime experience that I have with the VelocityOne Multishift. So there are two buttons on the shifter. One of them is high, low, is for the different range. This can extend the number of gears that you have to 14. This is handy if you drive a truck to have this button, but it is also a programmable button, so you can use it actually for anything that you want. The other button is to activate the handbrake function. If your shifter is in sequential mode, and you press this button, it will turn green, and then you will have a separate access for the handbrake. So very, very nice also.
3 right, 30.
So the problem with this testing the handbrake here is that I never ever have driven rally before in my life. And this might be a bit...
100.
Okay, there it went well. You can see it in the lower part of the screen left, the extra axis of the
6 right long,
handbrake.
4 right.
I wish I would be better in this mode so I can actually show it better. So I'm very, very sorry.
6 left short. And flat right. Into flat left. Narrows. Into 5 left short. Into hairpin right.
This is such a confusing...
6 right. 80.
Confusing and confusing game mode. I'm very sorry, guys. I tried this I think 7 or 8 times already. I just cannot demonstrate it properly. But as you can see in the lower corner, you have your axis, which is again no lag on it. Because of the nice knob, well, it feels well in the hand. You can really place your hand around it. Yeah, the only thing that I have to say, of course, you can still move upwards also. That's a bit of a thing, but for the rest, I really think it's a very nice addition to this to the shifter, to the handbrake. So back in BeamNG, but now for a leisure drive, to change the sequential shifter to an H pattern shifter, it is absolutely really easy. So, well, first of all, I'm going to just change the shifter knob. And then it's just a matter of flipping the switch on the side. Up, it's done. And we are now in H pattern mode. So this takes under a minute to change from sequential to H pattern, which is very, very spectacular. So the added immersion that you get from a shifter in a game is fantastic. And especially if it is of the quality like this shifter here, it just glides through the gears very easily. It has that when you get into the gear, you like have the feeling that you get in the gear. It's not like with my Thrustmaster THHS. Every time that I get into the gear that I have like clack. No, it doesn't feel plasticky. It feels very premium, and actually it feels like a car should really feel when shifting. Okay, you might say that the knob is perhaps a bit too small, but this is all very personal preference. It's very light knob, that's true. But it also feels very well in the hand with the rubber finishing and the aluminium that it has on it. It feels so very nice in the hand. Reversing, also very easy. Push it down. There's something also special. You push it down and put it in reverse, and then back to first. You can see it. It's a very fluent handling of the shifter. No misshifting, so the gates are really nicely aligned also. Yeah. Are there any negative points about this? Not that I can think of. Really not that I can think of. This is what I see as the perfect sim tourist shifter out there. Of course, you still have those fancy force feedback shifters from Moza, for example. But yeah, do you really need that? That's the question. Of course, do you need any of this? But for me personally, this for 100 and what is it, 130 euro, this shifter, well, you can get it a bit cheaper also, but this is a very, very fine investment for immersion and driving a car. Yeah, I can really recommend this shifter in BeamNG. There are two ways to attach your shifter. One of them is hard mounting them to the shifter holder that you have on your sim rig, and the other one is to use the integrated desk clamp that it has. Desk clamp is pretty nifty, so it has a very nice big surface to clamp around the holder. What it also has is about no clearance at all, so even if your shifter plate is like 2 millimeters thick, it will clamp very tight around it. And the third thing that I really liked about it is that tightening the desk clamp happens from above. So there is a little latch which hides the tightening mechanism, and you can tighten it like that. And that's much better. In the Turtle Beach software, there are the means to calibrate the shifter, test out the buttons and update the firmware. This time, unlike with the wheelbases I have tested of the manufacturer, I didn't see any issues. An update of the firmware went swiftly and calibration was done equally fast. As a conclusion, I have to think of the saying "Jack of all trades, master of none." This is certainly not the case for the VelocityOne Race Multishift. Turtle Beach opted for a 3-in-1 solution and delivered a product which feels premium without having to pay a premium price for it. While it may lack some configuration options when it comes to the resistance of the shifter, the feeling that you get from it feels already very satisfying and in line with what you would expect from an H pattern and sequential shifter to feel like. The shifting on the Multishift also feels very fast and smooth for both. While I would not necessarily buy it particularly for its handbrake function, it certainly is also a welcome bonus for the package. It's very rare that I encounter a piece of hardware that I just can't give any suggestions on how to improve it, but this one certainly is one of the few. Hardware for simulated driving, as I have already stated in plenty of my other videos, feels often very expensive for what it is, but from time to time you encounter a gem like this one. This leaves me with no other choice than to put the Multishift in the Sim Tourist buyer's choice list. It's just that good. Thank you all for watching. I hope you had something from this video. Leave a like if you did, subscribe if you want to see more videos, and well, have a nice end of year, and I will see you guys soon. Bye bye.